Check, 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 check. Hey, 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 hey.
All right, all right.
Welcome to the Porch Podcast. Welcome to the Porch Podcast, y'all. Woo! It's your boy DJ E, Mr. Enfluential, and I'm chilling with my brother.
The original, baby.
Yes, that's it. It's the Porch Podcast. P,
Yes, sir.
how was your week?
Full. Full. It was cool, man. You know, like we say all the time, man. You know, I got to the other end of it. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's always all that matters, man.
Yes, sir.
That shit, you know what I mean? So, everything's lovely, you know. We're moving around. We getting a little steam. We getting a little. We want. The first thing I want to do, right? You know what I mean? Right out the gate, I want to shout out everybody that's tuned into the episodes so far. Thus far, we love the feedback.
Absolutely.
We love the feedback. We really enjoy that.
Absolutely.
We really enjoy that.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right.
Yes, sir. All right, so, you know, as always, man,
Right.
you know, playing the sponge role, absorbing, looking around, thinking day to day about what I can do to change me.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure the way things are, you know, if I can make some adjustments in myself, it should probably lead to, you know, more success. You know, it's a different year,
Right.
different opportunities.
Right.
And I'm just excited about the nuance of trying to reinvent myself, you know. And it kind of led me to thinking about some things like how cycles work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the cycles of different things, you know. The 2020 situation, you know, when you sit back and you think about it and you talk to different people, everybody kind of got on one accord with
Right.
wanting to get out of 2020
Right.
and have this, you know, preset mindset that, all I got to do is just get to the next year.
Right.
It's going to work. The cycle of that situation is going to adjust. And life just going to work in the way that it needs to.
Well, I agree. I mean, we all turn around and, you know, we want to put 2020 in our past.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that we in 2021. But unless you've learned from 2020,
Right.
2021 could be worse than 2020.
Oh, absolutely.
So a lot of people, you know, if anything, like I said, I put a post up on my social media stating that if 2020 taught us anything, it taught us how to hustle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not just hustle. You know what I mean? I seen an actual post yesterday. Shout out to Showtime Brooks, singer Showtime Brooks. He's put a post up and saying, if 2020 taught us anything, it taught us how to turn our houses into homes. And I knew exactly what he mean by that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because everybody, you know, I'm not saying everybody got a house. Everybody hopefully got somewhere where they live at, but everybody's house is not a home, like Luther Vandross said. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
you know, that was powerful too, because we spent a lot of time with family and, you know, ideas, just coming up with different things. You know, I know when I sat there and I sat with my family a lot, I was trying to think of other ways of, you know, getting income, because I might pick up a little overtime at work sometime, but couldn't really do that.
Right.
And, you know, being DJ E, that slowed down tremendously. You know what I mean? So, you know. What else did it bring for you, though?
No, I mean, it just, like I said, I mean, sometimes in life, you know, when you hit the reset, it's kind of brought on either by change of circumstance, you know, inability, or, things being unavailable to you. And like you said, I think the year, what it actually taught you is that there is a chance that things can go south at any point.
Yeah.
And the things that we become comfortable with can be compromised like really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just made me kind of, like I said, once again, reflect on some things that were out of my control.
Right.
You know, I quickly got past, like, some of the things on the surface, like not being able to travel the way that I was accustomed to able to travel.
Right.
You know, not being able to do some of the things that I thought was, small things that had, obviously big effects.
Right.
So what I realized is that I needed to start planning not for, a pessimistic, situation in life to develop at any point in time, but I needed to think from the perspective of, okay, what can I learn to control more of?
Right.
That has less impact from anything on the outside of my ability.
Right.
So I started to kind of, like I said, man, like you, sit around the family. Started thinking about different things that we were passionate about because
Right.
I'm one of the people that my mindset has changed to the degree where if you're not passionate about it, it's gonna always be viewed as work.
Exactly.
One of my aunts, man, one of our aunts, I'm saying it like it ain't yours.
Exactly. Yeah,
Aunt
shit.
Joni said,
she is mine too, but it's okay. All right.
get out your feelings, man.
I'm not in my feelings,
Aunt
man.
Joni said, if you work, no.
Shout out to my aunt Aunt Joni.
Okay.
Yeah, because he said his aunt.
Oh my, yo, okay.
Just going
If
with
you
it.
do what you love, you'll
Right.
never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And so, being that was something that I had never actually thought of or heard, as that was brought to my attention, it was like, okay, regardless of any pandemics or anything like that developing from now on, all I want to do is what I love to do.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. And then in thinking from that perspective, it allowed me to understand that, wow, have I ever truly, truly done anything that I was in love with doing?
Right.
Like I look at you, bruh, I think it's safe to assume that you love the DJ.
Yeah, I do. I love the DJ. Believe it or not, it was something that saved my life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I've stated several times before. I've never. I was out there in the street, but never was about the street. Meaning, like, I was cool. I can go wherever I want. Everybody love you, boy. DJ E, that's what's up. Even before I was DJ E, I was sneaker man, water man, all that shit. But I never sold a drug a day in my life. You know what I mean? You heard how my voice cracked because, I lost niggas like that. Like, I don't mean to say it, but,
Yeah.
But I never sold a drug a day in my life. And when all of them started turning that way, I turned to the turntables. And it's took me to some places.
Yeah, it sure has.
It's really took me to some places. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That I probably would have never imagined going. And I think, once you start traveling, because a lot of times we travel because we need a reason to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Whether it's because we got some, we got a family reunion, or we got somebody passed away, or it's a graduation or something like that. But the first time I had to travel for DJing opened my eyes up to wanting to travel more just because.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you loved it.
Because I loved it. So
Right.
now, I now visit places, and when I'm there, I'm scoping, especially if I like the town,
Right.
scoping and saying that I'm gonna do some work here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna work here.
Absolutely.
Like, and that's just how it how it is. But that all matches up with what we've been talking about is cycles.
Absolutely.
It goes through cycles of the situation. Just real quick off topic. Now that we we're in the fourth episode. From the first episode, what feedback or what person? I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna put you more on the spot that way. What person that you were happy to gain feedback from? I'm gonna answer. You can throw it back at me that too, but I'm gonna answer it in a second. You know what I mean? But you go first.
Wow. You definitely did what you said you wanted to do. Put me on the
Put
spot.
you on the
of it.
spot. Put you on the spot.
Trying to just think back to it. I think that it's going to be difficult for me to say one person.
It
Because
ain't got to be the feedback ain't even have to be that powerful. Just the one person that you were happy that watched it. I know we appreciate all of it.
yeah, it's actually tough, bro. Like
Yeah.
I'm literally sitting here trying to go through my mind
Right.
and remember. I mean, so much has transpired since
Since
then.
then,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Everybody.
Everybody.
I know that seems like a generic answer,
but you right.
But everybody, because
You appreciate them all.
yeah, I mean, like for people, like all right, like I know I ain't the only person who do this, or
Yeah.
at least I don't think I'm the only person. When I read a text message,
Right.
I hear it in the person's voice.
Yeah, I do that too.
You know what I mean? Which that has an impact, right?
Yeah.
Like you could tell the person hollering at you in the text, and she be like, "Who they hollering
When they
at?"
do all caps.
Yeah,
Like,
you know, you be like,
you almost be like, I think they want to fight.
yeah, you
That's
almost
what
be
I
like,
think.
well, shit, you can have that opinion. You ain't got to holler at me like that. You know, you almost kind of get like in your feelings about it.
Right.
Nah, I can honestly say, man, every piece of feedback that came was empowering. It was something that I learned from everybody. I mean, there was some few word ones, there was some expanded ones.
Yeah.
You know, there was some that were, you know, just kind of like just more or less proud that we even took the initiative to do this. You know, and
Right.
it was just great to know that people liked it.
Right.
And that knew us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And just was like, you know, just keep doing your thing, stay consistent, don't come up off the, you know, the gas pedal, so to speak. So I can't say one person, everybody, and I'm shouting out everybody who's been having any comments, any feedback about it. I love all of y'all and all the feedback that comes from it.
Yes, sir. We love y'all.
You know, I mean, that's my answer to that situation, bro.
All right, I'm gonna just tell you, the one person that really caught my attention, was Pop,
Okay.
because Pop don't mess with social media.
At all.
Pop just learned how to text in 2020. Just got a Facebook page the last 2 weeks of 2020.
Right.
And when I called him, just to check on him generally, first thing he said was, I seen you on your brother's show, man. It was nice, man. It was nice. And you know I sound like you, just like you sound like.
Yeah.
I said, if he could have seen how hard I was smiling, man, I was like, oh, thanks, Pop, man. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Because, you know, you sent it to him.
Yeah.
But he was the last person that I would, not that he don't want us to be great.
Yeah.
He just, that's not what he do.
Now, if anybody that know Pop know, you know, he's just.
If it ain't the Eagles or a good movie or something, he ain't.
Yeah, even his support is the same.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that thing, hey, huh? Hey. He hit you about 9 of them. You be like, did you like it, man?
Hey, listen.
Hey, doing your thing, man.
Yeah, you doing your thing,
I ain't too
man.
surprised, man. Because I always, I don't know what you said, Pop, but it sounds like you enjoyed it.
That sound like, hey. I tell you,
gotta pluck something off the table that ain't really there.
Yeah, then, he said he gonna sit there and say to you, hey, Junior, I tell you that's you did. Listen, man, you did good with it. You know what I mean? You did good. He talked to me, be like, hey, oh, okay, baby. He still call me baby, like I ain't about 40. Oh, okay, baby. Yeah. Yeah.
But one thing we know is that he's genuine. Yeah. You know what I mean?
He ain't lying.
So I feel you. Mm-hmm. I feel you on that. That's what's up.
That's just the one thing. But still, I bring that up because I said it went off subject, but it really didn't, because it's about cycles.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Everything we do, basically, like what we're talking about in this episode, everything that we do, it in life, it goes through cycles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's why episode 4. So episode 1 was the first cycle, and if you want to put it thus far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got life cycles.
Right.
You know what I mean? We got, so you can't get to where you're going by skipping cycles.
You cannot.
You cannot do it.
Absolutely cannot.
You cannot do that.
Yeah, you can't. You got to feel like, all right, so in the breakdown of cycles for me, I always look at it like you got cycles that's going to make you.
Yep.
And you got cycles that's going to break you.
Absolutely.
And they both important. And the thing that you got to learn is how to be able to utilize those things, right?
Right.
So what I've been doing in this year is trying my best to evaluate the cycle.
Right.
Because you often heard people use the analogy that life is like a roller coaster.
Right.
It's ups, it's downs, it's twists, it's turns. So I started saying to myself, okay, understanding that the cycle of life is what it is.
Right.
The only thing that I can do is try to find out how to prepare myself for the ups and the downs and the twists and the turns. Mm-hmm. And how many of them are self-inflicted wounds. That's why I said there's ones that make you and those that break you.
Right.
Now, the ones that make me, those are the ones that I'm going to hone in on, obviously, because they generally are putting me in the path of success to whatever I want to accomplish.
Absolutely.
Here's what happens in most people's cases, including myself.
Okay.
The ones that break you get disregarded.
All the time.
And that's a problem because
Right.
that's why.
I like that.
And if you really think about it, that's why it's so much harder for people to go back to like a previous episode that we talked about to stay committed.
Right.
That's where the commitment gets challenged.
Yeah.
It's because we act like we don't need an umbrella in the car in case it rains.
Ooh, wait. Say it one more time.
We act like we don't need an umbrella in the car in case it rains. But just to give you know,
That's our version of a praise break right there. That's our version of a praise break. Go ahead, brother.
But just to give you an example of how, the forward-thinking element of it and understanding the cycle. I'm assuming, because I wasn't around, and that the first cars that were ever built probably didn't have windshield wipers. So when it rained, it didn't have a roof. You got wet. That's the cycle of building and developing cars.
Which also goes back to evolution. That we were talking about before.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
As it began to grow,
right,
the things that were beyond their control, because you can't stop the rain, you can't prevent it. So the only thing that you could do is
Shaq told us that.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Shaq and Biggie told us that.
Oh, it was all right too. I was just listening to it the other day.
Yeah, Shaq and Biggie killed that.
Little beat was smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't stop the rain. So they started to do things like, obviously develop windshield wipers.
Right.
Windshields, windshield wipers, things like that put you in a position to be able to handle it a little bit better.
Right.
So most growth comes in the understanding of the challenge.
Right.
So that cycle is not you living on a banana peel, so to speak. It's more or less a situation of you understanding that it is just as important as the other ones.
But not to break your wisdom. You already stated that you can't stop the rain, right?
Right. You
and
can't.
I said Shaq said that, and we know we can't. We use an analogy with the car and all that.
Right.
But New Edition said, can you stand the rain?
Right.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. It goes back to the initial thing you said about everything. When you said that most people say that. Most people, when they, the bad times, I guess, of the cycle, they try to forget about it, or what you say? How you stated it?
Most people try to omit it or not paying any attention
like it doesn't
to it,
exist.
like it doesn't exist. Right.
But how can you do that? I don't understand how people do that when you go to work out and you look for results,
right.
and we say no pain, no gain.
Right.
And if you actually look at hard times of a cycle, they're painful.
Right.
The pain is part of the process.
Right.
And that's where we got to remember as people when we're going through cycles,
right.
The pain is part of the process.
It is.
Right.
Bruh, when we were children.
Right.
When we were children. Now, we can say this. You never got any beatings.
Nah, I ain't. No.
Okay.
No, I ain't.
Only one of us here can say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I got him. Here's the difference.
That's the one thing I didn't follow you.
Well,
that's the one thing I didn't
was
follow
smart.
you.
We didn't need to share ass whooping.
Never got an ass whooping ever.
Right. So here's the thing. In that, you would assume that the cycle was I knew in advance what not to do.
Right.
I did what not to do.
Right.
And then I felt the repercussions of doing that thing that I wasn't supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
I didn't go through that breaking of that cycle situation alone.
No.
Okay? Because mom, let's just say mom, in this sense, went through the process and explained to me not to do something. I challenged that situation.
Yeah.
I
don't know why I used to try to challenge that shit.
Well, I mean, hey man, you can't make excuses for for foolish decisions.
Right.
I paid the price for them. But the objective in that, I'm assuming, is that if the cycle is, I'm gonna do what I want to do, regardless of whatever the circumstances may be or the punishment may be. If I'm gonna do it anyway, once I got accustomed to the reality of one or two things, either I'm gonna do it and deal with the ass whooping because it's part of the equation, or I'm gonna stop doing it.
Yep.
Okay? And to which I had more than one beating, so clearly I tested that theory on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's the long drawn in that situation. You didn't get the beatings because you understood what was at stake.
Right.
You thought through and said to yourself, okay, even though I may want to do this, there's a repercussion to doing it.
Right.
What I need to figure out is how to get it accomplished without challenging the repercussion.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So what you were smart enough to do, because we just talked about it the other day when we was talking about the kids.
Yeah.
You know, with remote learning. Like,
Right.
I'm going to keep it 100. Like, I
Right.
told E, I said, listen.
Speak on it. This is funny. Yeah, speak on it.
Okay. Kids is home.
Talk about it.
And they still talking about, you know, they sending out notification emails, having meetings for the parents to discuss the remote, you know, the return back to regular school. Hybrid or whatever they want to call it. I told E, simply put, you know what? It had to happen when it happened with these kids. Because if it happened when I was a kid and we was kids, everybody else would have been back in school. I mean, getting off the bus, coming home with book bags and everything. I'd have still been at the crib, keeping it 100.
Right.
I'd have still been at the crib. And that's when Pop and Mom would have found out. When they would have asked either P. Lou or somebody, either black, you know what I mean? Yo,
Cat Daddy, can't forget about
one of
KD.
them, you know, Coleon, any of them. Yo, oh, how was school today? You know, they would, hey, Miss Pat, how you doing? How was school today? Oh, school was cool. Y'all coming from school? Yeah. Yep. I'd have been in the house. She would have ran up on me, and I'd have been like, listen, Mom, I was going to say something, but I really, you know, I didn't know if it was going to work out. But whop, 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 it would have just been on. That's how the game would have went. But I would have been busted. Now, E, watch this, y'all. Break down how you would have done it.
All right. So the way I would have did it,
Genius.
I would have came in when they first started talking about it. You know, I'd have seen it. I'd have been like, whew, numbers still going up, man, out there. See how the numbers going up in the world? It's crazy.
I see you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. They talk about open up schools and stuff like that. Say what? Mine would have been like, say what?
Yep.
Yeah, they talking about opening up back them schools, man. School ain't safe. It ain't safe yet. You know, everybody breathing on each other and coughing and all that. Mm-hmm. She like, yeah, that's crazy. They better not do nothing like that. Week later, she seen that. Everybody come back from school. You remember that day when we was looking at the numbers on the news? I told you they was about to open back up the school. You agreed and said it wasn't safe.
Yep.
That's exactly what you would have said. She'd be like, you right, baby, but we got to figure something out. Y'all can't be the only ones not going to school.
Right.
But I wouldn't have got my ass whooped.
No, you wouldn't. I'm telling you because you was smooth E. I'm not saying you're a good liar. I want to clear this up. What I'm saying is you're good at seeing how to avoid,
Right.
you know, the repercussions.
Right.
Which is smart because you got time to be able to say, okay, first off, I didn't lie to you. I didn't pull the numbers are going up. I mean, the TV's right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't pull the wool over your eyes.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I was a little selective with certain information. Like,
yes,
you
that's
know,
true. That's true.
They're going to put us 6 feet apart, Mom.
Yeah.
We got to wear a mask the whole time
Yeah.
inside. Maybe I didn't say something about that
but
part.
that part never came up because the way I started
You
was,
started with a world
ooh,
issue.
look at this.
Right.
The number's still going up.
Right, because you still got to catch the regular bus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like,
Yeah, to get home.
yeah. If we had to go back to school, I'm walking. I ain't doing
Right.
it. Well, baby, you can't walk by yourself.
You would have been so smooth. You know,
I
even we went to Shrine, like, you know, if you was catching the bus, you was catching the public bus.
City bus.
The city bus. It wasn't
Yeah.
no yellow bus bringing you to the crib.
Right. That's
You
what
had
I
to go
told
out
her.
there on the bus stop and
I'm
catch it
telling
with
you that.
old people and whoever else.
Yeah.
Nothing against that, but that's just what we had. So we could really, like, you would have ran that hard.
Hard.
Me? It's going to be about 35, 45 days. Bitch, I ain't saying nothing.
You ain't saying nothing.
They going to look. They might get their report card for I say something about it.
You might have waited. You'd have waited till they called.
Yeah.
You called. But nevertheless, that all goes through the cycles.
You right?
Cycles of life. My thing is, man, I'm telling you.
What y'all want to fight? Don't run up on the porch. What that is on there?
That's all right. Listen, the studio, man. The studio audience, man. They got to be cool over there. Y'all be cool over there on the porch,
Yeah,
man.
You come over here.
You get on this porch, you gonna have a problem.
Yeah, this microphone shit gonna be pushed to the side. Go ahead.
All right, let's get back to the cycles
Yeah.
of it, though, right there. But truthfully, it goes back to what we was talking about a few minutes ago when I said I used to be out in the streets, but I wasn't about the streets.
Right. Yeah, it's a cycle. Yeah.
Let's keep it real. When we was in high school, we knew dudes, we knew young boys that was getting it. people our age that was getting.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
crack hit hard in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And they was getting real money in the 80s and we was young. But in the 90s, it was really, it had trickled all the way down to the young dealer, the young dealer out there getting money. Mm-hmm. Because he looked like he shined at the end of the day because he didn't have bills to pay. Like, most of the people that we came up with, and we know people that were in hard circumstances and situations, but we would go to their house as kids, play the video game and do all that. They had good roofs over their head. They had food on the table every night. Right. They had all that, right? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm the man in the house. I got to take care of these bills.
Right.
It wasn't that situation.
Right.
They just wanted the ball.
Right.
That's all it was. Mm-hmm. And I seen them, and they was balling. Yeah. You know?
They was shining.
They was James Harden, Russell Westbrook putting up numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Until they fouled out.
Oh, yeah.
Until they fouled out. Right. And when they fouled out, they got fouled out hard.
Yeah.
They was some of them, I seen some of them start getting high. The same cycle you seen on The Wire. I seen some of them start getting high. I seen some of them go to jail. Mm-hmm. I seen some of them get robbed. You know what I mean? But me personally, when I seen all that, and I knew everybody, it was cool, I said, they're doing it to ball.
Oh, yeah.
I was more like T.I. on ATL. Like, you ain't got to be a dope boy to have money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, what did I do? Followed my big brother down. Hey, man, I need a job down here. You got me the job at the sneaker store. Mm-hmm. So, everything that everybody was running a hustle for, not only was I getting it first, but I was getting it at a discounted price. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a cycle. Now, again, that cycle, and I want to make this clear, cycles come from what we see.
Correct. Correct.
What we see. Psst, what did I see? My big brother, my other big brother, Black, cousin Unique, all was working at the store that all the drug dealers was bringing the money to. It was designed for me to say, yo.
Yeah.
Sub me in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it also required patience. Because a lot of people that I know, when they started hustling, they wanted money, but they were too young to have a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
They try to skip parts of the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'm basically going with this. So what we're explaining, what we're saying out there, it's cycles and everything. Now that we're adults, most people, a lot of people that we know, they're entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I want all my entrepreneurs out there, because this is basically, even if you're looking, we're on different, platforms, Spotify, Apple Music,
Amazon Music,
Stitcher, yeah, Google Podcasts, Radio Public. Yep. You know what I mean? We fall under the category of entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Because even though we have jobs, this is where we're focusing on. We're talking about how we were entrepreneurs at a young age. All of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yep.
But the reason why we didn't stay with it or grow with it is because we actually try to skip cycles.
You're right. I'm telling you,
you can't skip cycles.
You can't.
Like I said, got a good friend of mine. You know what I mean? Has his own landscaping business, and I'm sure people who know me know exactly who I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So I asked him before. I was like, bro, you ever had a job? You ever worked for somebody? He said, yeah, I had a little job. He said, then I came home after work and started cutting grass in my neighborhood still. To the point where I had so many yards, I needed some help. Then I just kept going. He never skipped the cycle. Now this dude, he barely cut grass. Now it's patios and decks and, you understand what I'm saying? Tree removal, you know what I mean? Because he never skipped the cycle. You can't skip them cycles, man. I don't care what you're doing.
Nah. I mean, and here's the funny part. Even when you think you're skipping the cycle, the cycle ain't skipping you.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right. Hold on, another praise break. I mean, P, you just be having them. Even when you think you skipping the cycle, what'd you say?
The cycle don't be skipping you.
I was about to say the Skyple.
Yeah.
Damn, what's a Skyple?
No, you flowing. You know. But even when you think that you skipping, the cycle doesn't skip you. Which once again goes back to the understanding that most of the time, because you were saying like even from the young brother perspective, when they was hustling and stuff.
Yeah.
I went back to the concept once again of validation, man.
Yes.
You know, these people were out there doing things that they knew there was really no longevity in.
Right.
They understood the penalty that came along with that situation because you compromise the integrity of who you are as a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I'm not out here trying to crucify anybody who was out, doing what they needed to do, what they did, whether they needed to or not. But I am going to say that it did require you to compromise a lot of integrity in the things that you were presenting.
Right.
The cycle element of it and the reason why you can't skip it, like I said, is because of the fact that even when you think you have it all figured out, the fact that you think you have it all figured out means that you don't.
Right.
And because you start to think that way, you start to eliminate the possibility that things could shift and transition. And
you start to think things will never change.
You think that you, from a real complacent perspective.
Yeah.
And the reason why most of the time those things fall apart too is because of the fact that when you don't know what it feels like to work through something,
right,
you don't know what it feels like to like persevere.
Right.
It's a difference between like the person who wins the lottery, goes out there and blows the money.
Okay.
The cycle was wishing they had money, getting the right numbers, getting the money,
right,
and blowing the money.
Right.
So now they got to do what again? They got to hope they can get the right numbers.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's things that they were skipping.
Right.
In the process of it. So even when you turn around and do that, it's like, once again, you could try to skip parts in the cycle.
Right.
But the cycle not going to skip you.
It ain't going to skip you. Because there's certain things that just has to happen. Like, there's no way in hell you can turn 5 then turn 7. You have to turn 6 first.
Right. Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? You can't be 30 after you 40. You got to be 30 before you can be 40.
Right.
It's just that simple.
That's your Benjamin Button.
You know what I mean? Yeah, unless you counting down and do it like you may feel. Don't get it wrong. That's something different. You're as old as you feel. But I just really think that right here, especially in this episode, talking about cycle and everything, that's deep. That's some of the stuff that we bring on the show. It may be simple to some, but that's our whole thing. Because a lot of people complicate simple things and make them harder because they try to be deep or they try to do anything of that nature. Right. And that's the process of the porch. That's the whole. That's a cycle of the porch.
Yeah.
We brung this together. So, like you said, somebody told me, I'm gonna say him. Shout out to DK. He said,
absolutely.
When he looked at, he said, man, look, when I seen the title before I even watched it, I just looked at it as two brothers sitting on the porch having a conversation. I said, well, that's what it is. Because this is what we've been doing for the longest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even in 2020, we would make it our business at times. All right, bro, me and you going to just chill. We going to kick. And we would sit back, have a cigar.
Absolutely.
A little sip.
You know that.
Chill, have a conversation. And that's what a lot of the planning part came about the porch, the show itself. But it was also part of the cycle.
Exactly.
We couldn't skip that.
That's what made that concept of cycle come to me.
Right.
Everything we was talking about started when we were sitting on the porch.
Right.
All we doing now is sitting back on the porch again. You know what I mean? And talking about what we experienced.
Right.
That's how you make the adjustments in the cycle.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. Like, and I'm gonna say this right, just from my own perspective. Mm-hmm. What I had to figure out was, sometimes you ain't doing it right, man.
Right. Me too.
Sometimes you ain't doing it right.
Me too.
And I had to learn to, check myself. Like, I had to really just be like, nah, fam, you're not doing that right. You know what I mean? And That's one thing that I can honestly say that has helped me try to work towards like going through my transition.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I get frustrated, like anybody else.
Right.
I'm unsatisfied with certain things. Sometimes, some days I feel like, no matter what I'm doing, it's being challenged on all levels.
Right.
But I had to kind of like, you do realize that that's part of it.
Right.
Like, stop that tripping shit. Like, you sitting over here and you like, damn, the deck is stacked against you. Like, I had to really, because in my mind, if you're not winning, you losing. That's wrong.
Right.
Sometimes if you're not winning, you learning. You're not losing.
Right.
You actually gaining. Life don't work in reverse. So as you're going through the process of actually gaining things in the cycle,
Yeah.
it's going to require you to be able to turn around and say, I did that shit wrong.
Right. Right.
I just did that wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now what do I need to do? Well, what I need to do is get out of my feelings.
Yep.
Okay? Reflect on what I did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And make adjustments.
Yeah.
If that's something as simple as speaking too quickly.
Right. Bruh.
Not hearing everything that people have to say.
Right.
Not taking the time to understand that people have different opinions because they have different experiences.
Right.
We talk about how people, because we all know people who are established in life.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know all the testimony of them. We don't know all their backstories. But sometimes when you see things in the present time, we automatically assume that this situation is just something that, fell into their hands.
Absolutely. And I think where a lot of people the moment somebody's trying to tell them to make adjustments, they look at it as you hating.
Yeah, you get defensive.
You get defensive. And we're all guilty of that.
Everybody.
We're all guilty of that because it may not necessarily be the way we want to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But sometimes you got to listen. Like, I know in my DJ career, it wasn't, of course, sometimes people may have gave me, but I never felt like anybody was hating with that because you're trying to entertain a bunch of people when you're doing something. Mm-hmm. But the one adjustment I knew I did have to make was the way I prepared for what event I had coming up.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
With the type of technology and the way that we have technology today, like how we use different equipment and software and all that type of stuff, I've learned how to get myself prepared for another type of event. I still do Sweet 16s at times. I got to prepare different. And the one thing I had to learn about them, they're all not the same.
That's it.
That generation, they're all not the same.
Other than the age?
Yeah, that's it. Now, when you start looking at the 30 plus, the 30 to 40 ain't the same as 40 plus.
No.
Music-wise.
No.
I've learned that too. Years ago, we used to be able to be, you could 30 and up was almost listening to the same thing if they was coming out to the club. 30 and up. Mm-hmm. It's not like that. Now it's more 35, 37 and up because you got the 35-year-old listen to the same thing some of the 26-year-olds is listening to. You know what I mean?
So what's your favorite event? My bad to cut you.
No, let's make sense.
What's your favorite type of event?
My favorite type of event right now, honestly, is a 40th birthday party. And let me tell you why. Not the fact that I'm about to be 40.
Oh, okay.
It's the relatability. The way that we relate because I'm about to be 40.
Right.
We relate well. Doesn't mean I can't relate to a 30-year-old person because everybody that's 30, it's no set way a 30-year-old acts.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Because I know some childish older jokers and some grown acting younger
It's
jokers.
no set way a 35-year-old. It's no way, like I said, some Sweet 16s that I've done now, at least recently, they're no longer the Sweet 16s of the past. They're more like a family event. It might be 15, 16-year-olds in there, and the rest is parents. So I'm entertaining them. I get 15, 16-year-olds what they need, of course.
Absolutely.
But then I turn around, and the parents, because years ago, when we turned 16, we wasn't going to do the electric slide or nothing there.
Nah,
man. But now at a Sweet 16, it's not shocking if somebody's doing a wild board or Cupid shuffle because of the age that's there. Right. That changes, again, cycles. It's the way things change. If you're not going to go with the change or with evolution, you'll be out of business. That's why I've been DJing, like I tell everybody, I've been DJing for 24 years, okay? I say that because that's 24 years ago is when I kind of understood what to do.
Right.
But from the moment I turned 21 all the way up to now is when I've been active in clubs, bars, private events, and all that type of stuff. And I see a lot. Now, another favorite event that I love to have, that I like to deal with is when I could play top 40 music, like mainstream music, when it's not just brought to hip hop and R&B, or just, even though when you look at top 40 and all that, it's a lot of hip hop songs.
Oh yeah.
That's there.
Oh yeah.
But I like to sometimes swing in a little Taylor Swift and like, you know that because
Yeah, because you're a real DJ.
yeah, and one thing is DJs get judged a lot by their cover, what they look like. You know what I mean? Like it's just a part of life. You know what I mean?
Most of those type of businesses.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
The consumer's going to overlook.
Right.
And to be honest with you,
Right.
you got to factor that into the equation.
Right. That's like when me and DK used to throw a lot of events, and at this particular time, DK used to have
His dreads.
dreads. And he used to be like, it might not be smart for the big black dude with dreads and the beard to go in there, man. So we would go together. But he still would end up doing the talking. And I come in polo shirt on clean cut. He would be clean cut and dressed. Y'all, everybody know DK know how he like to dress and keep himself. But it was still the dreads and the beard. And it's like, yeah, what kind of energy is my man bringing? What type of time is he on?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But again, cycles.
That's just what
Cycles.
Once you can't get out of them.
Once we started realizing our approach and how we supposed to step up to people and talk to them, and how we was unstoppable with it. Just like how right now, like as we grow with this podcast, you're gonna just hear more and more and more feedback. We say this because even when we get the negative feedback, we focus in on that because, like you said in the beginning of the show, it's part of it.
It's part of it.
It's part of it.
You know, we just, like you said, man, it's you know, not to be the dead horse in the situation, but there's some things in life you just can't skip.
Right.
And no matter how much you're trying to play catch up in life, you got to understand that you are where you are at this moment because that's where you were supposed to be.
Right.
The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can make the cleanup adjustments.
Right.
Most of the time, like I said, we trip out on what we haven't accomplished, what we didn't do. You know, like you said, you know, even explain it from just the evolution of you being a DJ for almost 25 years.
Yeah.
You understood in that cycle you had to deal with some things that were changing along the way.
Right.
If you wanted to stay
If I wanted to stay
in the business,
game, yeah.
if you wanted to stay in that game, it wasn't I'm never getting rid of my turntables.
Nah.
And I'm never going to not carry records to these places. And
Yeah.
if you had chosen that,
Yeah.
you would have been your own undoing to some degree or your own cap in that situation.
And I also made it my business to learn other devices and controllers and all that, because just for myself to be able to be more mobile. Not even when we bringing my own. It's like, shout out to DJ Venom, Taj, you know what I mean? If we do an event and he got an event, he booked me like, come DJ with me. All I gotta do is bring my book bag. But if I didn't know how to use his controller, I would have to bring all this other stuff and all that.
See?
So you gotta, it's cycles. We're going through a cycle of the situation. And I think when people decide to say, I'm gonna try to take every step, these past holidays and Christmas, I was putting shit together. I didn't skip nothing in the directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I did everything that I had to do. I think as we continue to go through cycles, we also learn other gifts that we got. That's the
part
reason
of it.
why.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah, that's why you gotta actually still go through the cycles, because you want to learn the other gifts you got. You want to be able to say, damn, I know how to do that too. You know what I mean? And the average person don't think about that part. They just look at the pot at the end of the rainbow. But cycles, man. Cycles. And we take this as a tip, all the entrepreneurs out there. I don't care what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, what's your career. Learn everything about it. And it's okay to learn as you go.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's okay to learn as you go because when you want to get the basics to get started. But sometimes you got to fail before you succeed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And don't admit that failure. Don't delete that. You can, because you're gonna learn from that.
Yeah.
And that's basically what you were saying at the beginning of the show.
All it is, man. A setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback.
That's what they say.
You know, so most of the time, if you turn around and you realize earlier in the process that you can't skip any steps in the cycle, probably the more successful you'll be. It's cool. You got to understand, man, that you can't skip it. It's not going to skip you. Don't. First off, and this just me, you know, like I said, speaking from my own cleanup process in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Be okay with evaluating yourself. Understand that the process is what it is.
Right.
Understand that if there's nothing new under the sun, then that means that you need to understand that it's going to require you to do what you need to do in order to be able to open yourself up to accepting that it's going to be challenges and tough times that come along with the process of growth, but they're necessary.
Right.
And so with that being said, man, don't run away from cycles.
Yeah.
Don't run away from them. Understand that, you know, there's ones, like I said earlier, that's going to make you,
Mm-hmm.
and those are going to break you. And the ones that break you are probably more valuable than the ones that make you, to be completely honest.
Right.
It tests the will and the determination and the commitment to all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And the sooner that you figure out that, like you said, you know, you have to evolve. Evolution is necessary. Commitment's necessary.
Right.
You start putting all that stuff in, it becomes inevitable. I can't skip any parts of the cycle.
Nope. And don't try to. That's basically what we saying. Don't try to skip none of them.
Mm-mm.
I mean, what's the rush?
But,
It's still 24 hours in the day. I know we want the prize as quick as we can.
Absolutely.
I know we want, you know, the millionaire. We want it's like this. Sometimes we look at professional basketball players because this is what happens. You know, some of them skip college and go straight to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of them are built for that.
Absolutely.
They're not necessarily skipping part of the cycle. No, they're developed and ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kobe Bryant was ready for that. LeBron James, Kevin Garnett, they were ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
Some players that did that, Kwame Brown, if he would have went to college
Would
first,
have benefited from it.
he would have been a little
I believe
better.
so. I
I
believe
think
so.
he would have been better because certain coaches in the NBA and even people like, you know, the great Michael Jordan will say that Dean Smith helped them be a better man.
Mm-hmm.
And by being a better man, because you got to think about it, sports ain't nothing but learning about, making a bunch of decisions. Where should I go with the ball? Does this play? Looking ahead. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But even when they got to the league, they still didn't skip the cycle. LeBron James and Kobe Bryant both knew that for them to become in the top of the league and continue to stay throughout their career, they had to keep learning. It's part of the cycle. It's just that simple. You know, I ain't worried about the club. I ain't worried about nothing. I got to continue to study this game. That's the reason why ESPN has the show Detailed, where Kobe used to break down everything. I think Kobe Bryant and LeBron James had the highest basketball IQ. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In these last 20 years. And before that, you could arguably say Magic Johnson, you know, Michael Jordan, even John Stockton. You know what I mean? For him to have that many assists. But in these recent, Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, their IQ was so high, that's what made it hard for you to stop them. But it was part of the cycle. Wasn't just born. I'm gonna be the smartest basketball player on the court. They put in the work.
Yeah.
So all we're telling you is with cycles, you have to put in the work. You cannot skip that part. Mm-hmm. You go to the gym to work out. You can't just work out and get D's. You got to eat right. I'm just telling you, bro. You know how I feel about it.
No, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, it's do a service, man. You know, for those who have children or in their life, whether it's their own, nieces, nephews, your sons, daughters, however that all works out for you. Do yourself and do them a justice. Establish that in their minds now.
Right.
Put the ball in their court and sit down and have a conversation with them and say, listen, if I was to give you $1,000 today and ask you, what would you do with it in terms of how to turn it into any kind of a business or anything? And you put them in a situation where they have to kind of think.
Right.
Even if they don't have an answer, what you're doing is you're conditioning their minds to start to even think that way.
Right.
See, sometimes you got to plant a seed a different way.
Exactly.
Some seeds grow out in the field, and some of them you have to grow them, in the house, and because the climate needs to be a certain way, and they need certain dynamics to be in order. But do yourself a favor with your kids, man. Challenge their ability to be able to understand the value of a cycle now.
Right.
Because if the objective is to make money, right, and that's what a kid learns at a very young age, mommy and daddy go to work. They go to make money so I can have nice things and they have the house here and all these different things. Ask them the question. If I turned around and I gave you $1,000 and said, listen, I want you to tell me what you would do with this money to generate your own of all those things that mommy and daddy do for you.
Right.
Even if they never come up with it at that point, because they may be too young to grasp that concept.
Right.
What you're doing is planting the seed into their minds. Wow, I need to think about what I could do with that small little bit of money that can make such a major impact in my life. You have to plant the seeds to turn that cycle on in them.
Right.
You have to start them to thinking that way. You have to put things in front of them that they see. Most kids just look up and they see the reward element of it.
Right.
They don't go to work with you, so they don't see what you're doing.
They don't see the cycle.
They don't see the cycle. So when you explain, all they see is the benefits of you being in that cycle.
Okay.
So bring them in it, right? And you say, listen, once again, to reiterate the question, if I gave you $1,000 today and asked you to start a business, what type of business would it be? If they have an idea, that's great. Right. Tell them write that down and start writing down a business plan for it.
All day.
If they don't, it's still okay. Now you say, then what I want you to do is I want you to think about it and come back to me in 24 hours and give me an answer on what you think. If for nothing else, you've planted the seed in them to realize they need to think about cycles.
They've learned about cycles, and then they'll be learning about business plans at the same time. And the thing is about it, man, like you said, most kids just want the reward because it's like being a consumer is put in everybody's face as soon as they hit the world. And it's up to us as parents to turn around and challenge that and teach them that you can be a consumer.
Yeah.
But the rich only buy stuff that's going to make them back money.
Right.
You know what I mean? My boy got a landscaping business. So as a kid, he made sure he had that lawnmower.
Right. And it was up and running. It was up to par.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Same thing with me. I first got my first DJ equipment. Now, like when I knew what I was doing and started really investing in it, I was 15. You know what I mean? When I got a little mixer for cheap. But then when I went to work, I would stack my money because my goal was to make money from that equipment. Planting the seed. Couldn't skip the cycle.
Can't. No, you can't, man. You just got to do what you got to do. Like I said, do that with your kids, man. Because as entrepreneurs, like we're talking about now, one of the main things that they do is they preach generational wealth.
Right.
They explain the value of money and how to be wealthy versus being rich. They understand the reality of it is that you have to counteract some of the things that they learn on a day-to-day basis. Nothing against school.
Nah.
But that's what they do. Like, if you think about it, even in school, when your child gets a good, especially at the early ages, kindergarten, first grade, early developmental style, time in their lives, when they do something good, they get a star.
Right.
They get a smiley face.
Right.
You know, they get some kind of reward.
Mm-hmm.
So they're taught at that age that as long as I do good, I get something like a star or some kind of praise or a smiley face or a sticker or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cycles are introduced to them very early on.
Right.
What we do sometimes as adults is we don't figure out where we fit in that cycle other than a parent's role.
Absolutely.
So what we have to do is we have to turn around and say, okay, like I presented to you in terms of that question.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that you learn how to color in the lines.
Right.
It's cool that you done learned now that 2 + 2 is 4.
Right.
So now let me start to teach you that the more that you can plan for yourself and create your own opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
the more successful you'll be. And if I tell you that now at this stage in your life, as you're going through the developmental part of it in school at a young age, because you ain't gonna get 100 on every test. You ain't gonna get an A in every class unless that's the way it works out for you. But more often than not, it's going to increase in challenge.
Right.
And even in that concept, you learn how to, if I study, chances are I'm more prepared for a test, I get a better result.
Right.
You learn a cycle. Make sure that you put in there somewhere in that cycle how to be independent, how to learn how to do what they need to do for themselves, and then not skip parts in it. And I guarantee you, that's a priceless tool that they can learn.
Absolutely, bruh. And with that being said, I want to give y'all a thank you for listening to us, this episode 4. Before we go, I want you to make sure you follow us on YouTube at The Porch Podcast, which is DAPORCH Podcast on YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit the notification. Also on your favorite platforms is the same. On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher,
Radio Plus.
Radio Public.
That's Radio Plus.
Shout
Shout out to Radio Plus.
This is plus because we on there. Follow me on Instagram at MR_ENFLUENTIAL. And you tell them where to follow you.
Follow me at P Original 1996 on Instagram.
And also follow The Porch 30 on Instagram. And that's the way you can stay updated with us. We thank y'all. This has been The Porch Podcast, episode 4, Cycles.
Appreciate it.
We see y'all on the next one.
Be easy. Peace.
Peace.